Well, hi there and welcome back to Triplicate, and yep, we are still trying to get these new finger strings, as I call them, working. The ones with the wiggly PCB track forming the resistive element. So just to recap, while we were doing this I decided to mount the whole thing on one new piece of board, not the funny shaped screwed together thing that we had before. So in moving the turntable, we had a few problems and issues and things to solve, and things didn't work. We got the finger strings built and tested and mounted on some Perspex bounce bars, holders, ready to attach down to the board and ready to wire to the Nucleo. So let's move on. Okay, finally back onto mounting the strings. Now originally I was gonna stick these down with runs of tape along there, but I have changed my mind, decided I'm going to screw them down in case I need to get at the circuitry and the wiring under there, which is going to be rather hard, peeling off a whole lot of double-sided tape, because that tape sticks on quite well. I'm also going to, I think, mount some, I guess, strip board here with these connections on, rather than having them flopping about, and then I can bring connections over. I can steal the connections off this spaghetti here. Okay, 2 little bits of Veriboard wired on, not without a struggle. Wasn't a good idea taking these wires just off pads on the top surface of the board, because I ripped several of them off. Anyway, I found ways around it. So now I think I will actually just put 2 or 3 screws in, 4, 5, 6, 10 something, to hold this where I want it, and then find out which of these wires want to go onto which of these connections. Okay, enough screws in to hold it in place. So now this lot. Now I've always, from the first days of the stainless steel strings, had 2 outputs: the position on the string and the length of the string. So I could do something with the information if somehow you put your finger down in 2 places, so then that shorted this middle section out and you got less string. You could do something with that information, but I've never thought what I would do with it. So for now, although the electronics in here generates that information, which is the little blue wires coming out of here, I'm just going to take the position of the finger on the wire, assuming you got 1 finger on it. One of those others, they're there. So that requires a little assignment of A to D stuff in the chip. Okay, finally got them all going, I hope, using solid core wire for these. I thought the connections would be nice and firm and not flopping around like this, but it pulls the pads off the boards, and making the connections straight onto pads on top of the boards I knew was not a good idea, but I did it anyway. And I found another resistor that was soldered to the back of the end of the resistor, but not to the pad. So I need to look into improving that not happening, if you see what I mean. So now I am going to wire 4 of these wires onto here, and finally we should have something that functions. Well, it's wired up finally. Had to go through all these and work out what all the connections were, because did I make any notes when I wired it up the first time? Nah, of course I didn't. So as I say, it's wired up, so shall we fire it up and see if we're actually getting signals from these into the A to Ds in here and out to the PC. Okay, so here we go. Let us fire this up. I've converted the STM32 code into string test mode, and we have 6 A to D values, all of them near 0, which is what we would expect. So we have here, this wire is with a piece of copper tape about the middle of one of these strings. So let's try string 1. And we have, yep, a number on string, on value 0, I guess the first value. Yippee! Okay, moving on. This number 2. Oh, and we have a nice similar number on number 2. Number 3. Oh, we have a number on number 4. Okay, well, for now, I don't care. I am going to leave it for now. I can pick up any values. And right, trying number 4. Is on 5. However, they're all working. Okay, so I have these strings firmly mounted down now, so all that remains to do is put the little spacing strips along there and put the top layer on, and the copper tape underneath it, because if you saw, I think the last but one video, the first one I built up to test, I put the copper tape on the top. Right. Okay, so the each string is 25 millimeters wide with 10 millimeters width of string. You can imagine the zigzag going into the desk there. And originally I did put spaces up to the edge of the string, and there's your top layer. The only problem is that you can't push it down there or there at all, because it's firmly mounted. So when you push it down, you can really only push it down in the middle. So that proved to be a bit of a problem when I was testing it. So I'll draw it a bit bigger this time. Have decided I've got 25 across there and slightly over a third, 10 there, which leaves me 7.5 here and 7.5 there, and I'm actually going to leave a gap of, I need to look at it and think, but I'll update you, about half that here and here with my top layer on there, so I can now get it down there, and you should be able to get the whole of your finger on the whole of the width of the contact area of the track on the PCB. So on that basis, let us see what we need to cut and stick down where. Okay, so now I have to work out how to cut out 7.5mm wide strips of this to go down the middle of here between each pair of strings, and I guess a 3-4mm strip to go down the edge, and how to stick that up. Luckily we've got more of this than we need, so we can afford to get it wrong. Okay, clamp down at both ends my 1 meter long steel ruler, and here it is, and I have measured it, so there is black and silver. Yeah, we're not going to see this too well. I have measured it to 7.5mm, and as I say, we've got plenty, so I can afford to get it wrong. So I'm just going to take the knife, and I think it's actually hanging over the bench, so oh well, we'll go for it. And the board desk might have to take one for the team here. Okay, try again. Come on, it's just there. There we go. One 7.5mm wide strip of plastic. Well, that was actually quite easy. So what do we reckon it looks like? Well, I reckon that is alright. I reckon that'll do the job. Okay, so we need 2 more of those, and then we've got to worry about the ends. Okay, we have 2 thin ones for the edges. Whoops, and it's fallen off. Stuff came rolled up in a cardboard tube, and despite my best efforts it's not completely flattened out. And we have 3 wide ones to go in the middle there. So now we need to stick these down to the PCBs, and we can think about sticking the top and the copper tape on to the top of them. Right, before I get started, if I've got a piece of this. This is the old stuff, which isn't long enough, but I'm just using it to wave at it and think what I'm doing. So because if I'm sticking the top layer to these, then I need to put the tape on both sides before I stick the bottom down, because I don't want tape glue hanging over, which it will. I hope that makes sense. So I'd have to stick tape on top and bottom and then cut the tape so it doesn't overhang this. So I need to decide in advance whether I'm sticking the top down. Now I always planned to do so, but it's kinda, you have this and you've got to stick it down on all these at once the right way, and if it's wrong, So what I might do for this is make 2 more of these end bits, cos as well that has come unstuck at that end, and clamp it. So let's put 2 of these down. So imagine this would be clamped, and I clamped across there of course because it's not long enough, and well, where's that? So we'd lose a couple of centimetres of playing length, but we can get it, we can live with that, I think, for the sake of a prototype. So then I can just unscrew the screws and lift it off, hopefully, allegedly. But anyway, in the first instance I will glue these down, and I will only put tape on one side of them, and I suppose I could cut the tape. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, here we are, trying to do it on here, because if I do it on the advantage of putting black paper down on the desk is you can't see black plastic. So how am I going to do this? I'm going to put out a big length. So I want it to be about to there. No, I don't want it to be right to the end. I want to leave a bit hanging over the end. So to about there. Oh, get off my finger. Thank you. Okay, I now need to trim that so it's not overhanging, so we're not having sticky gunk getting everywhere. Serious stickiness. Okay, and similar for the other side. Okay, there we are, tape on the back. So, I'll put this one along here. And wipe down with IPA. That's isopropyl alcohol. Not India Pale Ale. I've lost it now. That one. I've left the ends on. I'm going to leave them hanging over the end. And cut them off later, and I'll use them as a guide to locate the top. Hopefully. Right. That goes there. Right, that is, I guess. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Okay. 2 more of them. Okay. The 3 big ones on, now just got the small ones which go along there, like that. I'm going to do those both on one run of tape. Well, I didn't cut these 2 strips particularly accurately, but they'll do. Right, so we need to cut along here. I found doing this, cutting all the way to the far length of the scissors, like that. And pulling the scissors out so it doesn't get a bunch of sticky stuck around the scissors is the best way to do it, just in case you ever decide to do something like this yourself. Well, come on, that's a little bit. There we go. There's one of them. Other one. And there's the other one, and this bit of sticky worsted. It's for the bin. There we go, the bin. Right, again, we'll give these a little bit of clean with an IPA, some kitchen towel. I really need to do this, dries pretty quick. And, well, there we go. Here goes worsted. Glue there. And the other one. Okay, done. So this goes over the top again. This is this piece of clear that I've just grabbed. This is a test piece. Hold it down with that. Yeah, I think that's good, but you get away from there, it's So it needs gluing down, and these are coming up at the end, this end as well, so I need to clamp the ends down, which is probably not the next job. The next job is probably to get the top on, cut a piece this big and glue it down. Greetings, all-seeing, all-powerful editor self here from the future. I've decided to split this video here because it was getting very long and there's only so much time you want to spend watching me stick things together at one go. So for now, as I say, we're going to end this video, so for now it's a goodbye from Triplicate. Goodbye.